Biogeochemical cycle, any of a variety of naturally occurring processes by which biochemically significant substances are recycled within an organism. Biogeochemical is an abbreviation for biological, geological, and chemical, which refers to the study of all three parts of each cycle: carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur, along with many other elements are necessary for life, are recycled through a process called the biogeochemical cycle. Plant proteins and enzymes couldn't function without sulfur. Furthermore, animals who require sulfur for proper health can only get it from these plants. The vast majority of sulfur on Earth is embedded in rocks, salt, and ocean sediments. Both natural and human activities contribute to the atmospheric concentration of sulfur. One of the main sources of sulfur released through human activity is industrial processes such as the burning of fossil fuels. Introducing a species that is not native to an ecosystem might have unintended implications, as the introduced species may become an invasive species. An invasive species is one that can quickly adapt to its new environment, has a high productive rate, and can severely disrupt the local ecosystems by displacing native animals and plants. A major factor in growth of invasive species is the actions of humans. As international trade and tourism flourish, invasive species are accidentally and sometimes purposefully introduced to new areas.
As human beings, we are capable of thinking beyond primal desire. We can think and make decisions that some could say would make us even gods. In our ever hungry instinct for more, we might have just created more problems than solutions. As other organisms, we use our environment to survive, but as time went on, our methods have become less than sustainable. Extreme, perhaps, with the emergence of technology like industrial farming and fishing. Not- Before, we just used the simple sickle. Now, we have chemicals, we have explosives, we have all the technology for massive scale harvests just to feed an ever increasing populace. Our need for more truly does damage, and might even get to the point where we are involuntarily controlling the climate as our increased usage of fossil fuels create a cycle of worsening temperature changes. Our effect on the sulfur cycle is nothing more than just adding more sulfur to the environment. It's not inherently bad, but the fact that it affects life on Earth means that there's something more to think about it. Our cycle, as all cycles are, is in equilibrium. And from this balance, it sustains life on Earth. But because of our human activities, we shift the balance. And to make up for it, the world, perhaps some people would say, is conscious, would give worse consequences as experienced by all organisms. Such such things that such consequences could come in the form of, let's say, acid rain that not only damage the flora and the fauna, but also the resources that this organism depends on. Now, since sulfur is acidic, that's why it affects the acid rain. Not only do we have an increased intake of sulfur for our water supplies or for, well, other animals, their water supplies, we could look to a chain of consequences where, or a domino effect of consequences wherein, let's say, for example, the animals drink the water and they die. Those animals that depend on other animals also die. It might get to the point where eventually we're next because we also depend on other animals to survive.
For the consequences, as sea levels rise quickly as they have, even a slight rise can have a disastrous repercussions on coastal habitats. It can result to erosion, floods, salt pollution, and loss of habitats for fishes. The amount of carbonate is a crucial component of seawater that decreases over time as a result of ocean acidification. With this, it becomes hard for marine animals to create skeletons and shells, like corals and planktons. Already formed shells may also start to dissolve over time. And lastly, for mitigation, prevention is the primary mitigation measure and focus, then followed by early detection, faster action, containment, eradication, and control. Also, promoting sustainable life, building programs regarding sulfur cycle reduction, and campaigns for life-sustaining cycles to inform the public about the devastating effects on coastal animals and to people.